Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place that, well, digs through all the noise to find clear, useful insights for you. Today, we're jumping into mental strength, but we're taking a slightly different path. Instead of a to-do list, we're exploring resilience by looking at what mentally strong people actually don't do. It's quite fascinating. Think of this deep dive as like a guide, a way to build up your inner strength. Because mental toughness, it isn't something you're just born with. No, it's definitely a skill. It's like a muscle you build by, deliberately avoiding certain traps. We've gone through, well, a lot of research and practical advice to boil it down to 7 key behaviors. Things that, if you stop doing them, can really change your perspective.
That's absolutely right. Sometimes figuring out what not to do, what to eliminate, can be much more effective than just piling more things on. We're talking about dropping that mental weight, the stuff that just drains you and holds you back. Mental strength really is like building something. You design it by getting rid of the weak spots.
Exactly. So first up, we're going to challenge a big idea many of us have about being alone. And then we'll get into something super common, that sort of quicksand of feeling sorry for yourself. Ready to really get into this?
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's unpack this first one. The foundation, maybe. Mentally strong people, they don't fear spending time alone. Now, that might sound a bit weird today, right? Everyone's so connected. We often think being alone means being lonely. But the sources we looked at, they show it's a huge difference maker.
Yeah, what's really key here is how they completely reframe it. Solitude isn't seen as, emptiness. For them, it's an opportunity, a deliberate choice, a chance to actually listen to yourself, to reflect without all the outside noise. And crucially, it's about recharging your cognitive batteries, your emotional ones. It's less about being isolated and more about intentionally connecting with yourself. It lets that part of your brain, the default mode network, kick in, which is vital for insights, for creativity. And the research backs this up. It shows why this alone time is so important. First, self-awareness. It helps you develop that. When you cut out the distractions, you can actually hear your own thoughts, your feelings, strengthens that inner voice. Second, it helps with emotional processing. Big time. Solitude gives you a safe space to just sit with feelings, helps your brain regulate emotions better, connects the thinking part with the feeling part. Third, creativity. It loves silence. The brain needs that quiet time to make new connections, spark ideas. And finally, you tend to make better decisions. When you're not swayed by what everyone else thinks or needing instant approval, your choices become clear.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So for anyone listening thinking, how do we even start this? The advice we found is actually pretty simple. Start small. Just carve out short bits of time for solitude. Maybe, say, 15 minutes or 30 minutes a day. But here's the key part, and it's really important. No media, no phones, no screens. Think of it like a little mental reset button you press each day, a mini break just for your mind so you can actually hear yourself think.
That quiet space is powerful.
And once you start getting that quiet space, it gives you the clarity for our next point, which this one gets really interesting. Point number 2. Mentally strong people don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. Self-pity. It's like this mental quicksand, right? It just keeps you stuck, stops you from finding solutions.
Yes, and this brings up a really critical difference the sources talk about. It's acknowledging feelings versus, wallowing in them. Acknowledging is healthy, it's necessary. It sounds like, okay, I'm really disappointed about this, but what can I learn? Or maybe, wow, this is hard, but I know I can figure a way through it. You see the focus. It's on seeing the problem, feeling the feeling, but then shifting towards learning or solving.
Right, acknowledging it, but not getting stuck.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, wallowing, that's the trap to avoid. That sounds more like, why does this stuff always happen to me? Ooh, or nobody gets it. I just have the worst luck. It's this loop, right? It keeps going round and round on the problem. Yeah. Psychologically, it keeps your brain stuck, stops it from moving to solution mode. Studies even show it can lower your belief in yourself, your self-efficacy.
Wow. So how do you actually avoid falling into that trap? What's the practical advice?
Well, the sources are pretty direct. First, limit the time you spend feeling sad or down. It's okay to feel it, absolutely.
Okay.
But maybe set a timer, like 20 minutes to really feel it, then consciously shift gears.
That's a great practical step.
Second, change the question. This is powerful. Instead of asking, why me? Ask, okay, what can I do now, or what's next? Just switching that question engages a different part of your brain, moves you forward.
Shifts from victim to agent.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And third, actively look for the lesson. Even in really tough situations, ask, what can I learn here? What's the takeaway? It's not about pretending you're not hurt. It's about using those feelings, turning them into fuel for growth,
Channeling them productively. Exactly. And that ability to channel feelings, it directly impacts our mental energy, which leads perfectly into our third point. Mentally strong people don't waste energy on things they can't control.
Hmm.
This is huge. It's like foundational, goes way back, even to ancient philosophy. Think about how much brain power we waste worrying about stuff totally outside our
Oh,
influence.
absolutely. Psychologically, focusing on the uncontrollable it's draining. It can lead to chronic stress, feeling helpless. The sources help draw a really clear line, what psychologists often call your locus of control. So things you can control,
Mm.
mostly internal stuff, your attitude, your responses, your actions, your decisions, how much effort you put in, your words, your behavior, and, critically, how you choose to spend your time and energy. That's where your power lies.
Right, the internal landscape.
Then there are the things you cannot control, almost always external. What other people do or think, the
Mm-hmm.
past it's done, the weather, the economy, politics,
Mm-hmm.
other people's opinions of you, pouring energy into those. It's like shouting at the wind, totally ineffective, exhausting, and it just makes you feel powerless.
Yeah, shouting at the wind, that's a good way to put it. So, the sources give us a great tool for this. It's often called the circle of control technique. Super simple, but really effective. You literally write down everything that's worrying you, all of it. Then you make two columns. Label one can control, the other cannot control. Sort your worries into these columns. And here's the key step. You consciously, deliberately focus only on the stuff in the can control column. You actively decide to let go of the other list.
It's a really active process of mental discipline.
It is. Now, this next one, wow, this really ties into our daily lives, how we interact with people, often without even realizing it. Point number 4. Mentally strong people don't let others control their emotions. The goal here is to be the one holding your own emotional remote control, right? To manage your internal weather, not just react to every external storm.
It's amazing how often we just hand over that control without thinking. We let triggers hijack our mood. The sources list some really clear signs this might be happening to you. Think about it. Getting furious because someone cut you off in traffic, feeling genuinely down because a social media post didn't get enough likes, or that anxiety when someone doesn't text back right away, feeling hurt by someone's casual criticism.
Mm-hmm. All common examples.
In every case, your internal state, your feelings, are being dictated by something external, often something pretty minor, actually. Your emotional brain, the amygdala, sort of bypasses the rational part, emotional hijacking.
So how do we build up immunity to that? How do we stop being so reactive? The sources suggest a really cool tool, the ESTA off P technique. It's an acronym, easy to remember in the moment. First, S, just stop. Halt that immediate gut reaction.
Pause.
Yes. Then T, take a breath. 3 deep breaths. Calms your nervous system.
Gets the thinking brain back online.
Exactly. Next, O, observe. Just notice the feelings bubbling up. Don't judge them, just acknowledge them. Okay, I'm feeling angry right now.
Detached lately.
Right. And finally, P, proceed. Now you choose how to respond. Intentionally, instead of just reacting on impulse.
And what's great is what comes after S.P. The sources say to ask yourself some key questions then, like if someone criticizes you, ask. Is what they said actually true? Is it relevant? Or how important is this person's opinion to my life, really?
Mm.
And maybe the most important one, what response would actually help me the most right now? What aligns with my goals?
Oh, that's crucial, bringing it back to yourself.
It puts you back in the driver's seat of your emotions,
Yeah.
builds that resilience.
Okay, moving to number 5. This is one I think, well, a lot of us wrestle with this daily. Mentally strong people don't try to please everyone. It's not just impossible, it's actually dangerous for your own well-being. You end up losing track of who you are, like trying to sail without a compass, just pushed around by others' expectations.
Oh, definitely. The downstream effects of chronic people-pleasing. They're really significant, really bad for your mental health. The sources highlight a few big ones. First, you get this loss of identity. You're so focused on what others want, you forget what you want, what you value, what you need. You disconnect from yourself.
This sounds exhausting.
It is. Which leads to the second point, chronic stress. Always trying to be perfect for everyone. Anticipating needs. It's immense pressure. Third, your relationships end up being superficial because people don't know the real you. They're relating to the mask you're wearing. And finally, it leads to unclear decision-making. You hesitate, you change your mind, always trying to guess what others want. Creates this constant internal conflict, cognitive dissonance.
So how do we escape that cycle? How do we build that internal strength instead? The sources talk about creating your internal compass, finding your own true north. It involves a few key steps. First, define your core values. Really get clear on what matters most to you, what principles guide you.
Knowing your why.
Exactly. Second, learn to say no. This is huge. Politely but firmly refuse things that don't align with your values or just drain you. Protect your energy.
Setting boundaries.
Which leads to the third point. Accept conflict. Realize that not everyone will like your choices or your boundaries, and that's okay. It's actually normal. Don't fear disagreement.
Yeah, seeking universal approval is the trap.
And finally, set clear boundaries. Be explicit, first with yourself and then with others, about what you will and won't do, what you will and won't accept. It's about honoring yourself.
That internal compass is key.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of things that require honoring yourself, change. Life's constant, right? That's always happening.
Yeah.
Which brings us to number 6. Mentally strong people don't fear change. They actually lean into it. They use it. They see it less as a threat, more as, well, an opportunity for growth.
But let's be honest, change can feel scary. Why is that? Why do we resist it so much, even though it's inevitable? The sources point to some deep psychology here. First, uncertainty. We're wired to prefer predictability. Not knowing what's coming feels risky.
The fear of the unknown.
Right. Second, leaving our comfort zones, learning new things, new routines. It takes effort. It feels vulnerable. Can trigger a kind of primal fear.
Makes sense.
Third, the fear of failure. Worrying we won't be able to handle the new situation, that we won't be good enough, that could stop us in our tracks. And fourth, there's often loss involved. We might lose familiar routines, connections, even parts of our old identity. And we're naturally averse to loss.
That explains a lot about why we might dig our heels in. But the good news is, adaptability is a skill too. You can get better at handling change. The sources offer some great strategies on how to become adaptable. First, consciously reframe change as an opportunity. Train your brain to look for the potential upside, not just the threat.
Mindset shift.
Totally. Second, start with small changes. Practice adapting in low-stakes ways. Take a different route to work. Try a new recipe. Build that change muscle. Boost your confidence.
Like reps in a gym.
Exactly. Third, cultivate a growth mindset. This is Carol Dweck's work. Believe your abilities aren't fixed, that you can develop them through effort. Makes you more open to challenges.
Crucial.
And finally, have a plan B, or even C. Thinking through different possibilities reduces the anxiety of the unknown, makes you feel more prepared, more in control, even when things shift.
Reduces the perceived threat level.
And that feeling of control, of preparedness, links directly to our final point. Number 7, it's about risk. Mentally strong people don't fear calculated risks. Notice the key word, calculated. This isn't about being reckless or fearless. It's about knowing the difference between a smart risk and a foolish one, and being willing to step up when the potential payoff makes sense.
Yeah, that distinction between calculated and reckless is vital. It's all in the decision-making process. Calculated risks involve, well, calculation, analyzing the pros and cons, having backup plans if things go sideways, making sure it's within your means financially, emotionally, and really importantly, checking if it aligns with your bigger goals, your values. Like maybe investing in learning a new skill or starting a small business after doing your homework, knowing the potential downsides.
Thinking it through.
Right. Now, reckless risks. They're usually emotional decisions, impulsive, made without real thought or research. Often there's no safety net, no backup plan. They could cause serious harm you can't easily recover from. And often they clash with your core values. Think about like gambling your savings on a whim or making a huge life change just to impress someone, ignoring what you really want, often driven by biases like being overly optimistic or only seeing confirming evidence.
Okay, clear difference. So how do you approach risk in that mentally strong, strategic way? The sources lay out a kind of risk assessment process, a checklist almost. First, define your objectives. What do you actually want to achieve with this risk? Get specific.
Know your target?
Second, analyze the impact. What are all the possible outcomes, good and bad, short-term, long-term? Be honest.
Play it out mentally.
Third, assess the probability. How likely is each outcome? Really, avoid wishful thinking. Be realistic.
Get grounded.
Fourth, prepare contingency plans. What will you do if things don't go as planned? Having backup options reduces fear.
Safety nets.
And fifth, this is key, set stopping points. Know when you'll cut your losses, change direction, or just stop if the risk isn't working out or things change. It's about smart navigation, not blind faith.
That's a really solid framework.
Yeah.
So if we pull all these threads together, what's the big picture? Mental strength isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's not about never feeling pain, not at all. It's really about having the skills to handle your emotions constructively, To deal with challenges in a way that lets you bounce back, maybe even stronger, it takes practice, self-awareness. It's an ongoing process, really.
That's exactly it. That's the core message. Being mentally strong doesn't mean you avoid getting knocked down. Life does that. It means you know how to get back up, how to learn from it, how to use the experience to build more resilience for the future. And by consciously choosing not to do these 7 things, not fearing solitude, not wallowing, not wasting energy on the uncontrollable, and so on, you're not just breaking bad habits, you're actively building a stronger foundation, a base for handling whatever life throws at you, challenges, opportunities with more confidence, more purpose, with that solid internal compass.
So thinking about these 7 points we've discussed, here's something for you, the listener, to consider. What's one behavior, just one, that you'll consciously try to avoid starting today, to begin building that mental strength? And just imagine, how might that one small shift start to ripple through your week? How might it change how you respond, how you feel?
That's a really powerful question to sit with, something that can definitely spark real change right away. Thank you so for joining us on this deep dive into building mental resilience. We really hope these insights help you strengthen your own inner world. Until next time, keep diving deep.